All right, g'day, hi, and welcome. Okay, moment of truth. So I got the battery in there. So I run Freddy over there, the big red road beast, for about 15-20 minutes for that battery kind of charged up. That battery's mainly out of that truck, but I'm gonna try. I've already checked my fluids. They should be good enough to, if I can start it. It's hard to say because the gas that was in here before wasn't very good, and there's not very much gas that I put into it last year. That would, it's not a full time. Well, I'm sitting on an angle here. I'm sitting on a major angle here. I'm gonna fall out the door. Tires are low on one side, and I'm on a bit of a hill, so I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna. Now, which key is going to work here? This is always the. I've got all these Ford keys, and I don't know which ones are which. Okay, yeah, that one's in there. So I don't know if this one worked last year or not. Yeah, I had a hard time with this one last year. Okay, try this one. All right. So we're gonna go through this again, are we? Wait, one more time. I don't want to run that battery too low because I got to be until my charger comes back anyway. So one more. Low fuel. Yeah, I know there's low fuel. That don't sound good. It rolls over. Okay, so I'm gonna wait about 10 minutes. I'm gonna try it again. I bet you in 10 minutes and go. Please don't kill my battery. Don't you kill my battery. Is there a way to shut that thing off? No. I don't know. I'll just, for now, I'll just go disconnect the positive for the negative on there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wait a few minutes. It seems like sometimes you have to, mind you, I only put like $5 or $10 of gas in it last year. So, I mean, the fuel lines could be frozen, could be anything. I just gotta get one of these guys off. There we go. There, I just don't want to drain that battery anymore. But I don't want to run that battery down because it's out of that truck. It's a good battery. It's about 2 years old or whatever, but it's out of that truck. So, but it definitely rolls. So the starter's fine, but I also don't want to burn out my starter either. But if I can get it running great, I might have to put some more new gas in it because it's probably, what happened is the vehicle was sitting for 1.5 years, right before my uncle passed, and the gas that was in there pretty much turned to water. So I got it started on that old gas, but it took me like 3 days, and then I put some new gas in, it started, it ran. I let it run for quite a bit. So I think it probably needs to get, prime the pump and all that stuff from sitting for the past 5 months again. So that's like 2 years of sitting, and it only ran basically 1 day out of, or 3 days out of 2 years. So yeah, that engine is going to be a little bit cruddy. Plus it's got other problems too, which is probably not helping it to start. So, but it seems like if you try it and then you just wait, what'll probably happen is that it'll fire up for like a second or two, and then it'll run, and then it'll run, and then it'll run out of fuel, and then you got to prime it again. So could be a fuel pump issue, could be all kinds of issues with this thing. I mean, this truck is going to have to get pretty much taken right down to the very ground. I mean, normally you wouldn't put this much into a truck. Well, I've only got 600 into it, registered and all, and $5 or $10 worth of gas. That's all I got into it. So, but it needs to be completely AZ, which I'm probably going to buy a carport or something, because I just can't build a garage, can't afford a garage. And that garage is too cluttered to work on. It doesn't really have enough room for a vehicle this size in there anyway. But basically I got to take this thing right down to the bare frame over the, but if I can get it running and run it the way it is just for now, I still have to put brakes in it and an exhaust on it, but that would get me to the end of the season if I wanted to run it, just the way it is, and then start the, the 5-year-long project or whatever. All depends on the money. One of my friends suggested that I do crowdfunding with it. I'm kind of funny about stuff like that because of, like there's people in much more need in the world. I don't know if like for something like this, I don't mind taking the time. Although, you know, if people want to donate to the channel, I greatly appreciate the people that do. But for something like this, I mean, this is more of a, it's a tribute truck for sure. Like it's something that means something to me, but it's also, there's starving people in the world. So you know, priorities, I guess, eh? I want to put a, see, you got the winch cut out for that? Yeah. Okay. I think it's going to start now. It's going to start now. Yeah. I've let it sit long enough. It's time to wake this big beast up. That 5.4 liter Triton. That should be on there good enough. Should be on there good enough. Yeah. It's going to be a hell of a lot easier working on this vehicle when all the snow's gone, though. Yeah, see, that dome light don't go off. I got to fix that, too. I got to fix a few things on this. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. Okay. Okay. Battery still showing okay. You can do it. Come on, buddy. One more. Last attempt for today. No, don't want to kill my battery. Well, I tried for today. I'm going to get more gas in it. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, so I tried some pedal tricks here to not flood it, but yeah, just not getting the gas. So, so it's probably gonna be like last year. It's probably gonna take me 3 or 4 days to get it started. I was really hoping that it would fire up. I thought I ran it enough last year that it would take care of that. But see, because I want to run it so that I can heat it up so I can take the plugs out. Because it's a lot easier to take these plugs out when I'm gonna disconnect the battery before that dome light drains my battery. It's a lot easier to do that. Hang on, I'm just gonna get that. There we go. I'll have to bring that battery all back through that snow again. That's a hell of a workout bringing that battery through that snow. Yeah, what was I saying? I was saying, yeah, when you heat up the heads, it makes the metal expand a little bit, meaning running it. And what that does in return is it makes it less likely for you to snap the spark plugs. I'll show you the new spark plugs. I have them in the house. I'm going to put that trip meter right back to 0. So last time my uncle drove it, he was at 743 kilometers. What? Oh, there you go. Okay, back to 0. That's old analog, it's not digital, eh? So I like these old analog things, kind of. You know, this truck needs severe cleaning. Check out my moose. I'm gonna keep that in there. That's gonna be a lucky charm there. My nephew noticed that there's a moose in here. I said, "What? There's no moose in there." And look at, holy shit, there's a moose in here. I guess I was distracted last year, and well, rightfully so, right? So, yeah. See the wheels worn out. Whoever was driving this before my uncle, they must have been left-handed because it's all worn out here and on the top. Yeah, that's the wheel. This truck is gonna go through a lot of changes. There's, you know, not for the first little bit. I'm gonna try to keep it as original as possible, but I'm gonna have to reupholster it and everything like that. So I'm pretty sure the floor is pretty good in this, but I'm gonna have to rip up everything. Like the truck needs to be completely ripped apart and, you know, start from scratch, right? So, but the liner and everything's good. But for the first year, it'll be like this. But like all this plasticky stuff, I'm just going to leave it. The idea is to keep the truck as original as I can, you know, and then just like make it as pretty as I can. But like the, you know, the interior, like, I mean, there's oil stains and stuff like that, and mold and all kinds of bad stuff in here. Yeah, so I gotta, you know, want to get all that rubber liner, get all that stuff. But yeah, the plastic bits is part. And in fact, I'd like to go with an interior that's more conducive of off-roading, meaning something that I can throw a bucket of water through it and clean it. Not that I'm going to go off-roading with this heavily. This truck will get a supercharger at some point. Like I said, this is going to be like a 5-year project, you know, unless I magically get like 20 grand to put into it. But I got so many other things that, you know, are priority over the truck here. So it's just a thing I'm going to do over time. Hopefully you follow me on the journey and enjoy it. But maybe I'll try it one more time, and then because I don't want to kill that battery because it's been sitting most of the winter without being charged up. But you know, again, I'll run it in that truck for a little bit. I think what's happened is maybe my fuel line might be frozen as well, but I'm going to put more fuel in there, and plus that fuel that's in there is probably mixed with water and everything like that. So it's going to take a while to burn all that shit out. There wasn't much in there. It was like the tank was almost empty anyway, but God knows what the condition of that gas tank's actually in. It could be full of crud. It could be full of who knows, right? But yeah, I'll go from there, and again, we'll see what cool things happen to this truck this season. It's going to be fun. I'm actually really stoked to get it. The thing that like all my projects that stall me is once I have the money coming in to basically work on it, I don't have any time. And then once I have the time, you know, it's winter, and like I can't work on these things in the winter. So like it's just outside in the winter. Like you just can't do it. Like it's. I know people do it out of desperation, but trust me, there's nothing more frustrating than being freezing cold, wet, losing parts in the snow. You know what I mean? Like you just avoid it if you can. So I need a garage to work on this thing. That would be really cool. But if I can't rent a garage or buy a garage. Again, I don't have the money to rent the garage. You know, again, especially if it has to sit there for about 5 years being torn apart or whatever. So, you know, I don't have the money to do that. But if I did, that's one of the things I would do. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Maybe I'll try it one more time.